of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Gene.
First thing is to approve, is there any additions or corrections or additions to agenda or deletions?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay, you have the minutes attached to the agenda. Is there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
If there's no additions or changes, I'd like to make a motion that we approve.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes as presented. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Next, Carl, set a public hearing for amendment to ordinance number 5 floodplain regulations.
Good morning. Morning, Carl.
Morning, Carl.
Well, I think I told you a few times before that we've got the floodplain ordinance that we need to make some amendments to, specifically to adopt the new map that covers the whole county. And then there's some requirements that FEMA and DNR have. Those are the only changes, or their requirements, so I did make you all a copy of it. This is a little different than the actual amendment will appear in the paper, because this is kind of a cross out and highlight the new stuff for you guys to be able to review it a little more easily. John submitted the amendment to him, and he requested it just be a repeal the whole each section that has a change in it and replace with the new section. So the actual amendment will look a little different than this, but it's all the same substance. I just did that so you can pick out where the actual changes are a little easier. But we just need to set a public hearing date, looking at July 31st. It's 2 weeks out. That works.
What time are you thinking, Carl?
10 o'clock's usual.
10 o'clock on what day?
July 31st.
Do we want to make it 10 or do we make it earlier? Because during the summer, sometimes you have less. Or we'll make it work.
Fine with me. I mean, whatever you guys want.
10 okay with everybody?
Sure.
Okay. So basically, this is all cross out, so it's deleted, and the yellow is what's added.
Yeah, it's mostly add-in stuff from, and again, this comes from FEMA and DNR.
And John had no problems with
The only comment he made to me was he wanted the form change from the original one that I'd sent him, so.
but when we pass it, you want us to do,
It would be a repeal of each of those major sections and then adopt each section back in that has all the changes in it. I'll get you that form
yeah, that's fine.
when we do it, so. This is just a little easier to see where the changes are for you.
Okay,
So this is all addition here.
Yeah, busy thing in the yellow is addition.
It's an addition. It's not, that's not replacing anything then.
The only
If
thing
the
that really gets
replacement-
replaced is that first
Right here.
application
Yeah,
of
okay.
adopting the map. They do this, I don't know, every 5 years or so, they kind of, they'll send a change they want.
Right now, Carl, those little, you've seen these little tiny house things that are being promoted in places. Are those, and then underneath your opinion, do they fit more in the recreational side, or do they fit more in the manufactured home side?
Well,
And are they allowed in the floodplain, I guess?
well, they're not, It would depend. If you kind of read through this, you'll see that residences are allowed in the floodplain, but they have to meet certain requirements. You know,
Okay.
they have to be elevated a foot above the 100-year floodplain, and that's one thing that the zoning commission and I are going to discuss this month. Tiny houses has been kind of a issue that different counties look at differently. Some places think, well, if it's a small house and you can maintain it, then fine. We don't have building code out in the county, so technically right now I would allow a tiny house as long as it met the rest of the zoning
Criteria.
requirements. Same way with houses inside of Morton buildings or machine sheds. We've got a couple of those, so we really don't have anything that says you can't do that, so they're allowed. We really haven't had any requests for the tiny house type of thing, but you can certainly see it, and especially in a place or an area that has more recreational areas, or maybe along the river or things like that. But so far it hasn't been a big issue, but it is one that we want to discuss.
It's on the radar.
Yeah.
I guess my big question is like the airport, how is that gonna impact like the airport?
Well, they would have to meet floodplain requirements.
Requirements.
Yeah. They're not exempt from it.
When a house has to be a foot above the 100-year floodplain, is that from the threshold or the bottom of the basement? Where do you measure the?
It would depend again on whether it was an enclosed, or the basement was, the definition of a basement isn't that you've got dirt basically on all four sides.
Okay.
So walkout is not a basement. That's a living level, so it would have to be elevated. So it's interesting reading to look at all the regulations. So there's a lot of circumstance, what gets considered residential or the lowest living level, or lowest floor.
I think the last situation we had was down in Manning that time. Right along that creek.
Yeah, and everything still gets referred to DNR for their review first, before. We're not there are certain counties that can make that determination themselves and approve floodplain permits. It seems a little bit redundant in that we're approving a floodplain permit, but first we need to submit it to DNR for their approval. So we could have additional requirements, stricter than a DNR, but we don't. We just take their basic.
Maple River too, I guess.
Right, that all went to DNR first.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about having a public hearing on July 31st at 10 o'clock. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll move to that effect.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to set the public hearing for amendment to ordinance number 5 floodplain regulations. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried.
Okay.
Thanks, Carl.
Thanks, Carl.
Okay, Dave?
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning, Dave.
It's getting sticky out there.
Oh, boy. Just wait till this afternoon.
It's gonna be worse. I should probably came up last week with this permit. I've been sitting on it for a week, a utility permit for Raccoon Valley Electric. They'd like to put it in this morning. They want to bore a road, an electric line under Timber Avenue, which is the blacktop road south of Glidden, at 21,624 Timber for electric service. 4 foot below the ditch bottom in section 32 of Glidden Township for J. Paul Conrad. Looks like a pretty minor.
That's it?
That's it.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Utility permit.
It's been moved, second to approve the utility permit. Any further discussion?
Sounds like
Not
pretty
all
straightforward.
those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried. Gee, Dave.
Few things under department update, asphalt, we finished that. That all the residents of the county will be glad to not be behind pilot cars, et cetera. I think the railroad finished their crossing about a day before, which really worked out pretty good. Finished South Grant Road here, I think it was last Thursday.
Is part of that in the city limits?
Quite a bit of it is, yeah.
And they're paying their fair share of that?
They will, yeah.
Okay.
When we get done, they'll pay
Okay.
based on quantities. We didn't get that done at the end,
No, I saw that.
but we're gonna try and do it with our own forces. It just didn't work out with the contractor.
Right.
The way the traffic was having flow and whatnot. Our shed over at Arcadia is making pretty good progress the way it looks. It looks like they've got the interior sheeting on and insulation. They don't have the roof on yet, or the roof insulation, or the door, or anything like that, but coming along real good.
Owners imagine so far.
Yeah.
Three to four were on when I was there today.
It was looking real good. Murphy is here crushing. That's
Just that last week. It's out, or the People Depot.
And Allet said they were gonna start the third week of this month crushing up at their pit, at their Boyer pit. So hopefully that'll happen too. I'm not really sure just what we'll do about hauling it out of there. Crawford County's got 85,000 tons to haul out, and they'll have a lot of trucks on that. We'll have to deal with that as we go here. I guess first thing to see if they get some gravel on the ground for us. Other than that,
What's the timing or situation as far as putting stripes and lines on our new asphalt?
it should happen today.
Today.
That's what we're hoping for.
I didn't even need to ask, did I?
Yeah.
Way to go.
Paul's already got the lines made.
Yeah, Paul's all ready. I thought it was gonna maybe happen Friday, but it didn't. But we're anticipating doing
That's
it.
good. That's great.
Part of the contract that they're doing that. We're not hiring our guy that we locally do it with, try and get it done a little bit sooner.
So when are you gonna cut those warnings on stop signs?
That's a good question. I can't tell you that.
Of course,
But,
Did you say do 2 or 3 rumble strips?
usually we do 3.
Some of the new ones I see are going to 2.
Yeah. I can't think of anything else right off the bat.
Oh, it's-
Kind of a lot of activity just coming to an end very abruptly.
It's nice to see that with, the asphalt project getting done. Murphy's here piling up concrete,
Seems like we've been waiting a long time for a lot of
Asphalt's
that.
getting crushed. The Arcadia shed is going really good.
Yeah. The contractor's doing a real nice job on it.
we're gonna try to add more shouldering material, won't we, Dave?
We are, yeah.
We're gonna do that ourselves.
We
Are we
will
gonna
do-
try to pack that down in there so it's not too loose?
As we get it up, we will, yeah. And we're waiting for some rains on it. It's gonna be kind of a work in progress. Al just brought me up the timesheet data. The contractor didn't have any experienced personnel, and they asked if we would pull that material up, and we had that retriever, that disc that we used, and it just worked incredibly well. And they wound up with about 7.5 hours of crew time, which would have been 2 blades and Broom working on it. We'll prepare a bill and we'll bill them for what labor we put in on that. But I think they were really appreciative, and we're glad it's done too.
So we contracted Henningsen and they subcontracted you.
Yeah, and that's something.
Well, I'm glad you guys recognized that they had the B crew, not the A crew that do that with.
Yeah.
That's the way you kinda explained it to me.
When you're looking for experienced blade operators, we've got some, that have a lot of experience doing that, just like their experience with asphalt. We don't have any of that.
Different expertise.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing to me how they can lay that so quickly, you know, compared to the way years ago, the way it would take forever to get a job like that, like Templeton done. Yeah.
I think one day they got over 3,000 tons out on the road. And in fact, it was mid-3,000s, and it was taking roughly 700 tons a lane mile. So they made quite a bit of progress that day.
Yeah.
I think they worked till 9:30 the last night trying to get that done, which was probably not all that bad. The traffic on that Grant Road's pretty heavy, and that part of it was okay, but
So what does that cost us a mile?
$250
Without the shoulders?
with pretty well everything you see right now.
Okay, it's $250 with the shoulder extension?
Yeah.
So what would it have been without the extension? You have an idea?
Oh, I'd just really be shooting in the dark. I think off the whole 9 miles, I think it would have been about 500,000 that we'd taken off, but that's what we saved from the go down in asphalt price. The asphalt price went down, the asphalt and cement went down. Remember that discussion that we had?
Mhm.
So you're saying it would have been 500,000 for 9 miles without these
Yeah.
extensions? So it's about 55,500 per mile.
Yeah. For the shoulders, yeah.
Oh, for the shoulders.
Oh, that's just for the shoulders?
The shoulders, yeah.
So what would be without the shoulders?
Well,
It'd be about 200.
About 200, yeah.
About
200 a mile?
Mhm.
200, 220, something like that.
Okay.
but you're kind of thinking that the, just the drop in the asphalt price is kind of putting those shoulders on.
It did, yeah.
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 What we saved got us that.
Yeah.
Got us
Yeah.
to-
And hopefully that continues on, you know,
Yeah.
asphalt in the 300s. It used to be, it wasn't that long ago, when we did Noble, for instance, I think it was in the 200s, the asphalt cement was. And then it quickly climbed up when price of gas increased.
Oil price driven.
Oil price driven, it went to 600 and over per ton. And this was like 338 or whatever, so it was appreciable.
I will say this, I've got a lot of comments, positive comments, in regard to that widening of those shoulders.
Oh, that's great. I drove on that
Yeah.
Templeton Road the other day, and it
Yeah.
was
Put it in prerogative.
incredible, yeah.
I hope we can continue to do it. Yeah, that'll be really.
That's another road that could really use an extra 2 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, if we can do it, I think we're gonna be smart doing it, because of that weight's getting out there on that edge on all these
Mhm.
roads. That's what deteriorates, they're breaking off.
Al said he saw a manure wagon going down the road the other day over by Roselle, and it was not clear out at the edge, and, you know, it was confined within the lane. So that's what we're hoping, that they don't wind up getting clear out at the edge of that.
Breaking it off.
Breaking it off.
Anything else, Dave?
I can't think of anything.
Well, doing the 5-year plan is always fun, but the best part is when it is done. So
Some of the stuff
great.
actually gets done.
Yep. And some of those culverts earlier were made good progress this year.
Yeah, didn't they do a nice job,
That one
that
south-
patching that
On Glidden?
on Glidden?
I did, I went
Yeah.
through there yesterday, went through at normal speed and barely noticed the bump.
Yeah, that's one of those crews that does little jobs like that, and they apparently have a lot of expertise, because that's hard to do, to fill in a hole with asphalt like that.
And that's the crew that's gonna try to do that by Dedham there?
That's the one that's gonna try and do that by Dedham
And you
and
know when
underpass
that's-
by Arcadia.
When's that gonna be?
I think it's gonna be September now, the way they're having trouble coordinating their milling machine and the paver, and which is, they kinda gotta go together. That's kinda why we didn't get that done. But Neil was one that,
Sooner the better,
South End
sooner the better I
Mahogany.
get some people off my tail.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's probably some more work. We do have quite a bit of patching issues to do, but to find somebody that's willing is great.
What we're talking about is that west exit off of Dedham going to 141. That radius piece is just full of holes. And it's just, and they filled it and just, that truck.
Pops right out.
Pops right back out.
Kind of like the Maple River deal.
Yeah. Trying to find an iron pipe to put underneath there so we can get that.
Get rid of the
We were
water.
Discussing that this morning, something we can lay in there as a single piece with very little cover on it, because we don't want to build that up too much right there. Found a couple of people that have them, but the shipping's kind of an issue. We'll find one though.
An iron culvert.
Yeah, just almost like a well casing. And they use maybe
Like what they drove under the railroad.
16
track,
inch,
Champlin.
same thing, yeah. 16 or 18 inch, and so we don't have to build a whole lot up underneath it. So we can get a good grade line on it. We're probably gonna have to, in the future, wash it out with a jetter, because a lot of siltation comes down from up above and plugs it up. And we got a nice pond on the one side of the road. It's an interesting
That
situation.
makes sense, yeah.
How long does it need to be?
Pardon?
How long does it need to be?
80 feet,
So
Well,
you
cased
say
or
there's
fit there?
yeah.
siltation filled in there, you say?
Yeah, we've jetted it, we've had the grout scout jet it before, but it doesn't, I think it's a little bit like this inside. There's not a lot of fall.
See that one they put on the railroad down, they drove in it like a piling, except they drove it this way.
Uh-huh.
And when they got it drove in it, then they had an auger go in there, cleaned it out.
Clean out the dirt.
Never seen such
Hmm.
a.
Oh,
That-
okay.
Was that Sergeant that did that, or was that the railroad?
You know, it was some other outfit, but I can't remember what the name was.
Yeah, we're gonna actually dig up the road, lay it in there.
Lay it in there and then cover, yeah.
Cover it up, yeah. Not much room for any more than that, and I think if it had a good open end, it would drain that water in.
Yeah, that Maple River deal, it's just, all that water comes
Down to that point, yeah.
down to that point, and then it's just flat
Yeah.
down there. It's a real problem.
It's not an
There's a-
ideal situation.
No, that water comes down there like crazy, and Dave, where's our 10 cents going this year? Is that still, we're still on the Crawford County?
Well, that's a good question. I was pondering that thought, because it's like having a checking account that you put several deposit in, and you want to say, well, where are we going with that 10 cents? I would say a lot of it went to gravel and granular surfacing. We put that 100,000 tons of gravel up. We hired $130-some thousand worth of surfacing hauled on by the trucks. You roughly get 500 local. We could say that a couple $100,000 that we get on our farm to market account went to the asphalt resurfacing that we just did.
Because the first year it went over on that Crawford County line.
That and then some, yeah.
Yeah, and then some came over, or
Actually,
the-
yeah.
actually, the next year, some went back
Some of
to
it,
that yet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to sit down and think about it, maybe. I see some people are putting that in, they just don't want us, they don't want us paying salaries with it, or buying graders or anything like that.
Right. I think that's one thing this board commented on when that passed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good point, Dean. I think it'd be good to definitely, ear notch it, so to speak, to say.
Right.
That's where it went.
How are things, Dave, looking on the Aspen Bridge with Crawford County as far as starting that project?
Paul met with them on that, and I'm not just sure how far off we are on that. We talked the other day, but we didn't talk about that, because we basically gotta come up with a load of plank to get that done.
When a coon turned out good, like crossing there on the east edge, or west
Yeah.
edge coon.
They're doing a lot of work.
Well, Dave and I showed him the.
It cooperates so well.
New crossing lane there between Keith's Ford and Jason
Klein,
Klein.
yeah.
It's all in, or concrete pads and everything. And, I've been walking the goddamn couple of times before.
Right there. We did meet with the landowner about a pit site too, Gene and I did, just, but that's about all I could say about it right at this point, because we're losing our one down by Templeton. Our stockpile sites, yeah, that's better wording for that, Marty.
Okay. Any other questions for Dave?
No.
Keep cooperating with the railroad.
Well, you know, all
That works
kidding
two
aside, I'm
ways.
not so sure that day we had that visit didn't do some good. It
Maybe.
seems like all of a sudden,
They've loosened up a little bit. I was just shocked that the city of Coon Rapids, Kevin Reese told me that they had called him and wanted to know where he would like the signals put, not where they wanted them, but where the city wanted them.
Signals?
They're gonna move the signals up on that Fifth Street because that siding
Uh-huh.
has been removed because that belonged to the co-op. They're gonna remove that, but they're gonna move the signals closer to the tracks rather than have that long
Oh,
layback.
for goodness sakes.
But they actually called him and asked him where they would like them, at which he said, you could have pushed me over with a feather. Usually they just tell me where they're gonna put them, and that's the way it works. But
Have you been over the crossing that they put in down there yet on
by Ford,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
yeah. And
Looks like
railroad
it should
did-
last a while, too.
They did a real nice job on that country club one too,
Mhm.
different railroad, but that seems to ride pretty smooth.
Yeah, I went there yesterday.
That's the only one I've been over. I gotta get out more. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks, Dave. Have a good
Thanks,
day.
Dave.
Okay, next we have plats. We have one here for, I guess it's John Schumacher. Well, it's Jeffrey K. Schumacher. And then one for Jim Snyder. Okay, according on this one is Snyder, there's actually a lot inside of it. Now, will that be, did that lot be taken off the plat then?
This will just change the dimensions of it, and it's not, it's a meets and bounds right now, so it was never surveyed. So when this will be surveyed, this will be lot one, and the other ones, will just get absorbed by this because it's larger.
Okay. Any comments on the plat?
I'll make a motion to approve the plats, the two plats.
I'll second that.
Been moved in second to approve the plats. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Next, we have the approval of Class C liquor license for the Carroll Country Club. And I think that also includes Sunday sales, is that right? And outdoor sales.
Courtney, you know of any complaints from the sheriff's department or anybody complaining?
No, I have no complaints in my office. I can't answer for the sheriff.
Okay.
I'll move to approve the liquor license request by the Carroll Country Club.
And I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and second to approve the liquor license for the Carroll Country Club. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Next, we have is Class C liquor license for the Carroll Bowl. That includes also living quarters and Sunday sales. And there again, we have not had any complaints.
Not in my office.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and second to approve the Class C liquor license for the Carroll Bowl. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
You can pass these down and listing for two days.
She's got her stuff ready for us.
On top of it.
She's on top of
That one's a lot easier to set than the other one.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah. it. And the other one, you by the time you got set, you had your hands half dirty. Okay. Next we have is the Fricky Building vacant space real estate listing.
Okay. We had that listing with a Realtor, but we let it expire because of moving. the homemakers in there and doing a lot of the things, and now we've got it arranged where we've got 2 areas down there and one's empty, and it's time, we decided at the last meeting it was time to get it relisted, get some exposure, and we did this by the bidding process, and Remax was the successful bidder, and so I asked them if they would be interested in continuing it on with the same, under the same circumstances, and they provided a new real estate thing, and Courtney pulled the old one, and I compared them side by side, and they're pretty much the same. One difference is in the original one, after it expires, if we don't renew it, and we rent it out within 180 days, they still get the commission, so they don't. The new one is only 120 days, so it's less restrictive. The old one, when we did it, we listed for a 6-month duration. In the new one, they left that blank, so we can decide what the duration would be. So I think the deal was, if they wanted to make any significant changes, we should probably put it back out for bids, but they won this on the bidding process, and everything's the same, or actually better for us. So I would be in favor of approving this, and maybe some of you have looked at it and seen something else, I don't know.
We had it listed with blends before.
Yes.
For 6 months.
Yes.
We had no activity on it.
Very little. We didn't get
And
any.
prior to that 6 months, we had listed with
Nobody.
Nobody.
Okay.
Nobody.
Now, the thing with this lens also, this also covers the multiple listing. right?
With this, it goes to a multiple listing, and it spells it out quite clearly that if a different realtor gets the client in there, that they would share the commission with them.
Okay.
So it's going to multiple listing, and they're also going to put it on their website, the Zillow website, and CoStar, Company Star, which is as well as the Remax, and then the multiple listing will hit all the other realtors, so they'll be aware of it.
What's
Does
the
it
main
say in there what the
thing about
commission is?
The commission is $1,000 if they get it rented out, and that's exactly what it was in the
Yeah.
old one.
What length of term do you think we ought to put in?
I would say 6 months, as the other one was, and then.
Okay, 6 months term and see how it goes.
Yeah, yeah. So, that's what, we got it, and I did the comparison with the old one that Courtney had on file. And that would be my recommendation.
Okay. Any other questions? Do we have a motion then to approve the listing with Fricky, or the Fricky building with Len?
I would make that motion. Was there anything else, Neil?
Okay,
Just
it's been
to
moved.
authorize the chairperson to sign that, I would say, so.
And that'd be part of the motion, right?
Yep.
So it's been moved and seconded to authorize the chairperson to sign the listing. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
There's 3 pieces in there. One is the listing, one is the multi-listing, one is an agreement in case they're representing both buyer and seller, which is the same as was last time. That was all in there too, so it's
A lot of paperwork.
a lot of paperwork.
Like to sign it after.
So now that we don't forget.
Okay, next we have is the fiscal year 18 interfund transfer resolution for Maple River wastewater fund.
You guys should all have a copy of that. This just shows what we'll be doing every month for next year. Just need a motion to approve the resolution.
Okay, is there any questions on this?
I'll move to approve the FY18 interfund transfer resolution for Maple River wastewater fund.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the interfund transfer resolution for Maple River wastewater fund. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Roll call.
Resolution.
Oh, that's a resolution, that's right. Roll
Miners.
call. Yes.
Ruggles.
Yes.
Shetler.
Yes.
Bach.
Yes.
Danzer.
Yes.
Motion carries. I'll pass that around
Okay.
for signatures.
Next, we have the fiscal year 18 interfund transfer resolution for Mount Carmel wastewater, which is basically the same thing except with different numbers on it.
I'll make that motion to approve the resolution.
I'll second it.
Transfer
Been
to
moved
Mount
and
Carmel.
second to approve the interfund transfer for Mount Carmel. Any further discussion? If not, roll call.
Miners.
Yes.
Ruggles.
Yes.
Shetler.
Yes.
Bach.
Yes.
Danzer.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. I'll pass that around for signatures.
Okay, next, we'll clean up a lot of stuff for the beginning of the year. Next, we have the approve the contract for services for Jared Hayes, which is the individual that takes care of our Maple River sewer system. And this contract is identical to the last one that we had last year. Am I right, Courtney?
Correct.
So this is just an annual contract that we have with them, and just having it updated or renewed, so. Any discussion?
I'll move that we approve the contract through June 30th, 2018
Okay.
for
I'll
Jared Hayes.
second that. Any further discussion? Or wait, let's move and second it. So is there any further discussion?
There's been no complaints on it.
Oh, no, no.
And he does, as you see, you give me a report every month from him, so.
Does a good job.
yeah.
Very good job.
Okay, there's no further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
Oh, shoot. Looking at my thing, I'm wondering if we can add this to the agenda. We do this by resolution.
Oh, the contract is.
Yeah, I
up
have
there?
resolutions attached to the back, and I meant to put that on the agenda. So it basically, the resolution states that you're approving the contract and that you're authorizing the chair to sign.
Well,
On both of the
it's on the
contracts.
agenda, just that resolution be part of that, right? Wouldn't we even need to add it?
Well, I went and I looked at how it was done the years before, and I kind of copied the agenda, but that's, I guess you can make that call. I
Should fit.
I'll
It should-
move.
It should fit underneath that same thing, I would think.
I'll move to add the resolution to the agenda, just for,
I second that.
Is that for both of them?
Yes.
Is it for both of them?
Yes.
Both contracts.
All right, then move and second it to add the resolutions to the agenda. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, then we need to approve the resolution to authorize the contract for Jared Hayes. A motion to that effect.
so move.
Second.
Then moved and second to authorize the resolution for the contract for Jared Hayes and authorize the chair to sign it. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Roll call again?
Roll call.
Resolution.
Sorry. Miners?
Yes.
Ruggles?
Yes.
Shetler?
Yes.
Bach?
Yes.
Danzer?
Yes.
Motion carries. I'm just gonna write that. here.
Okay.
Pass that around for signatures. And the contract, I
Next we have is a contract for R&R Septic, which
believe.
takes
This
care of,
just needs Jean's.
that takes care of the Mount Carmel sewer system. And this is again, an identical contract to last year's, am I right, Courtney?
Yeah. Yes, sorry. I'd lost my other one.
Well,
I wanted to grab it back out. Yes, it is. There's been no changes to
Here it
this.
is, right here.
Make a motion to approve the contract for R&R Septic in Mount Carmel.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved to accept the contract for R&R Septic at Mount Carmel. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nope,
By roll
resolution.
call. No.
No.
This is
Just
just
the
a
contract.
It's just a contract.
See, now I'm getting straight in. Okay. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is that mine?
Okay, now you can make your motion
Now.
for the resolution.
No, make motion for the resolution.
Where's the one that, oh, maybe he still has it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought he was passing it around.
There's been a motion
Sorry,
to
thank you.
approve the resolution to authorize the contract for services, R&R services, and also to authorize the chair to sign that contract.
I'll second.
Second. Any further discussion? If not, roll call.
There you go.
I didn't hear the first and second on the.
I made the motion. Dean made the second.
Rich made the second.
Okay.
I wasn't quick enough.
Roll call, Miners?
Yes.
Ruggles?
Yes.
Shetler?
Yes.
Bach?
Yes.
Danzer?
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, I'll pass this one around.
Let's start on that end of the table this time, so I can be last. Change it up a little bit.
Keep them on their toes, Dean.
That's okay. District 1 doesn't have to be on the top line by any means.
Sign mine, Dean Shelter.
Twice, huh?
That's why I wanted District 3 on the third place at both times.
There we go.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have is the agricultural preservation and removal request for lot 1 northeast, similar to section 4 of 8434. This would be the Eunice Osmond property, and there's a letter in here from Frank Camino that represent requesting that we remove this from the agricultural preservation.
So, yeah, I contacted him like he requested and let him know and got this very shortly after that. So I talked to Carl a little bit and he thought it'd be best if we did it by resolution, just so we could get it recorded and that way it would be on record.
So then, what the next thing is on the resolution of 2017-008, agricultural preservation removal, which would be for this described property. So is there a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll move to approve the resolution 2017-008 to remove the agricultural preservation.
Now, go ahead, Marty.
Okay, it's been moved and second to approve the resolution 2017-008 for agricultural preservation removal of said lot. Roll call, or is there any further discussion first? If not, roll call?
Miners?
Yes.
Ruggles?
Yes.
Shetler?
Yes.
Bach?
Yes.
Danzer?
Yes.
Motion carries. One more time, pass this around.
So we're probably going to see these from time to time.
Possibly.
If they're caught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is only caught by here by us. Or
By Carl.
Carl.
Yeah. Well, and now that I know there's a layer, I didn't know there was a layer on the mapping for that, so that's something I can look at too.
Yeah.
You know, these were done so long ago, they kind of get tough.
Carl hasn't been around so long, probably wouldn't know
Yeah, with
either.
the change of legislation, the value of them is basically gone, but the effect of them is still there.
Being able to monitor that layer, you can catch those,
Yeah.
I guess. Otherwise, Could that layer be removed? Could that? Or is that a touchy thing?
I think the owners have to request it, so you'd have
I don't
to-
think we have the authority to do that.
Do that?
Because they came in, I guess, and requested it.
requested it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they requested that.
Because they're gonna have a sale for a parcel that may be non-ag.
Right.
So the rest of the ground that they own is still in it. It's just that that lot with the house on it is not going to be.
And they requested to be in the agricultural preservation area.
Okay.
All started when all the hog barns were going up, is when it started that whole chicken.
Next, we have manure management annual updates. We have one here for Blade and Pork, Jordan's Brothers LLC, Section 7 in Union Township, and there's been no changes on that.
Carl gave me this, it's code, it kind of explains what that, I read that, I thought it was interesting, because I didn't really understand it.
Okay, next, committee reports. Rich?
Last week I had ambulance. Wasn't a lot to do about that one. We did get one new paramedic hired, but then we lost one, so the net change was 0. And he went on, the employee we lost went on to Dallas County. Pretty much the accounts ready to roll into the collection agency was down. We only had 3 of those, which was a little bit of a change. And we'll see where those go. And they are currently working on 9 other ones that are paying, but they're not as fast. So. Then we had I also had went to WMA for the North Raccoon. Pretty enlightening meeting. They had established, got a lot of the committees set, the chairman, the vice chair, secretary, treasurer, all that stuff was set. Discussion of the verification of alternates came up a lot like the Golden Hills one has surfaced. And rightfully so. That way the only thing is they might be interested in looking at proxy votes in this one, and that was not in the Golden Hills that I remember seeing, and maybe Dean can enlighten us on that one too. But and I don't know if I'm kind of on the fence about that one, because we could have one person having 7 proxy votes, and that could change the game of it a little bit. I just assumed they'd had the appointee or alternate there and to make their vote. But the electronic voting is allowed in this one, so it still shouldn't be an issue. That was my only concern about what I did see. Dean did jump on some committees, and I commend him for it. He didn't jump into the chair. I thought maybe he might want to chair that one. But. And then
I made sure I didn't.
Huh?
I made sure I didn't.
I seen you. You were quick.
That's why he's present.
That's right. Mark Hanson from Dallas
Dallas
County
County.
is going to be the chair. Mark Hanson. I think he'll do a good job. He seemed to kind of
that's
welcome
what's
it a
going
little
on.
bit, I think, so.
He's on the board with me.
Then I had Region 12. First time I've been to the policy council was the last one, but I was out of town and couldn't make it. Very enlightening. It's sat next to a DOT representative that he didn't share a good light on the Highway 30 project to me, but I think that's a common theme with him, period, so I don't let that kind of go. Yeah. That's the gist I got. Yeah, so I had a kind of an active week, very, very enlightening. I said that the wastewater management was probably the most knowledgeable thing. I got a lot of knowledge out of that one this week. This week coming up, I have daycare tonight, and then Dean and I are going to discuss here in a little bit whether The condition of bottom is on Wednesday, whether him or I are gonna go to it. So we'll discuss that here in a little bit and come up with a plan, so. Other than that, that's it for me for the week. Okay. Dean?
Had the Conservation Board meeting on July 10th that evening. The first point of discussion was the Maple River Trailhead discussion. This meeting was down at the Great Western Park. And now that the fence has been moved and it's on, the Lowe's put a fence back up, so it is on the property line between the railroad and the county. So they took it upon themselves. I think they're now cohabitating that property. So that's why they put the fence back up. So I'll pass that around. I think what they're going to do is they're going to put a parking area in there with some fences. Fence that they're going to be putting back in. Mike Fuchs had some material left over, so he's going to donate that to the county. And so it'll be, the fence along the south side will be just like the fence on the north side. So. After that, we talked about there was just an update on just a lot of updates on the Houlihan Access update. If you've been down there, they've got it. They basically got it all plumbed in, and the structure, the walls are up, concrete is poured. Now they're just going to put the roof on it. I think that's basically seat it down, open it. It should be open shortly, I would think, after they get that roof on. The cabin project, and I was going to comment to Neil on the photos that he sent, traveling around, taking some good shots and getting us an update on what's happening in the county as far as county projects, and I thank him for that. The cabin project, the cabin's in place, and so they're just going to continue to get it ready. Hopefully it'll be available for rent this fall. That's what they want to do.
That's nice. I went through there Saturday.
Did ya?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in there good.
Yeah.
Beautiful view.
Yeah, I think the
The
view is
picture
just,
that Neil
yeah.
sent, it's just gonna be a great view.
Yeah. The Sauk Rail Trail Road Crossing, they're gonna do that at the beginning. They're gonna work with Dave on that. And that would be on 170th Street, where the Sauk Rail crosses 170th. They'll be working with Dave on that. I guess one of the comments that was made is that, the crossings that are in Greene County, they're paying somebody to do it. And it's costing the county a lot of money. We're basically working with Dave, county conservation employees, secondary road guys, and we're working with the city of Carroll as far as to screed it. So the county does save a lot of money by doing it that way. So
When
I
did you
think
say
it's
they're gonna do that?
the first part of August. He didn't have any specific date. They want to get it in, and right now, the agricultural,
For harvest.
yeah, before harvest, after planting, I think that was the goal. The Great Western Park shelters updates. They looked at a possible site for, and this will be for a shower and bathroom facility at Great Western Park for the campers. There's 8 campsites there. They can increase it to 16 at some point in time, so they tried to centrally locate it. Also, where there would be expansion beyond that. So they didn't want to put it in a spot where it would inhibit expansion for camping. And it'll be a nice addition to that park. I think that would that would increase the the big problem with that is that there's just no mature trees there. A lot of the trees we were looking at are ash trees. The bigger ones are the ash trees, and so that's not a good sign. So I'm sure, and that they're going to try to move some trees. I think there's some trees around in the park that are out that they're going to look and see it. Take an inventory of that and see if they can spade some maples and hackberry trees in there, so. The funding on that, again, I'll go ahead and say how that's gonna work, is that $20,000 was given to them for the Western Park in a will. They're applying for the Timmerman grant for another $10,000, and Pheasants Forever is putting in some money towards that, and it's be a minimal amount simply because of the fact that there's a lot of labor donated. The guys there that were donating the labor for the plumbing and for the concrete work and the brick and the lay up the block. So, and I think, the conservation guys are gonna do a lot of that stuff themselves. So I think the cost will be minimal to the county, and it'll be a nice facility when it's all done.
Did you say where they're gonna locate it at?
They're gonna locate it between the shelter house there, and then you have to go up that hill.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be up towards, on that slope, on the east of the campground, but on the top of the hill, in that grassy area there.
Up to the west of the playground, but
Yeah. It'd probably be south and west of the playground up there. He's gonna put it towards the south end of that, so that when they add, if and when they add more campsites, it'll be more centrally located that way. They did, Great Western Park had a real significant weed problem, and they were able to take care of it. The pond looks great down there right now. Very little algae, very little, trying to think of the name of that.
duckweed,
That weed that's,
duckweed.
no, it's not duckweed. It was very prevalent actually this year and all. My pond had it. East Okoboji had it. I mean, it inhibited a lot of activity up there because of it. It dies out in July, towards the end of the July, which helps, but the summer's about gone anyway. But the pond looked great. The $2,500 from Galing Welding, that was on the last bill day. It was for a press kit that Galing makes up. And so they make up the kit, and it's for pushing out bearings and stuff like that, and there's different applications. They have a specific kit that costs $2,500. That's why you got the round number. That's just what it is. It's $2,500. He says they've got them out there right now. You can go out and buy one. You can put it together yourself, and that's what they did. Or you can have them put it together, and it costs $6,500. So they needed one. They thought their guys could put it together. So then we had the waste, or the WMA meeting on Wednesday, and yeah, they elected I nominated Mark Hansen as the chair, and they voted him in. There was no other nominees. Carrie Navratil from the City of Storm Lake is the vice chair. Dale Ahrens, BB supervisor, is the treasurer, and Katie Rock is the secretary from the Polk County SWCD. So it's a good cross-section of people. I think they wanted to get that. Since the majority of the funding this time is going to be it's going to go to Storm Lake and Pocahontas County, I think they wanted to keep it up there. I got on the Outreach and Stakeholder Committee. It's basically a membership, trying to get more members in and try to tell more people about the WMA. There was another planning committee, floodplain, it's called the Floodplain Committee. I decided to not get involved with that at this time. Let's see, what else can I tell you about that? There was a big discussion about posting notices for public meetings and stuff like that. That's quite a contentious
Yeah.
subject in the newspapers, where to post, and they're
I
gonna be
received it,
sending.
Yeah, I received an email, but it was from the Nishnabotna one,
Yeah.
and they had me post it here, which is fine.
Yeah.
I post for lots of different.
Yeah.
I would imagine Carroll picked that up because she was sitting behind us at the meeting and she was really intent on how that was gonna work.
Yeah.
We post several agendas.
So you're gonna be getting those. That was my suggestion, is to send it to the auditors of the counties,
Yeah.
and then that way it gets posted. And they're gonna use the Storm Lake paper, the Pilot Tribune, the Carroll paper, and the Perry paper, so they get it down in the southern part of the watershed. Then we went, I also got on the project coordinator hiring committee. And so that is just, I think probably my work can almost be done on that. I think we'll probably have one more meeting when we hire the individual, but I'm not on the team that's gonna actually do the hiring, so. But we went through the process of hiring that project coordinator. This will be a 5-year job. I think they were discussing a salary around $55,000. Buena Vista is going to take on, going to provide them space. They're going to put them on their health insurance. They're basically pulling this individual into their system and give them, basically as a county, give the benefits of a county employee. So, the next meeting, as far as I know, is going to be September 20th. And I think that's about it on that, without getting into a lot of detail. And I participated in the Highway 30 Coalition conference call on Thursday. I think there's kind of, I don't know who you talk to, but I think they're pretty optimistic on, I think some things have to be done. August 8th is the next commissioner meeting. I couldn't make it to the last one. That one was over in Coralville. It was just too far for me to go. The next one is going to be in Shenandoah, and that's not real close either. And that's going to be coming up here August 8th. They want as many people to that as possible. I think they're going to, they've done a lot of work. I will hand it to Adam. He's done a lot of good work on pushing this coalition. Commissioner David Rose has, from the very beginning, has pushed this project, and he gave us a lot of good steps, tips to work to bring on at this presentation. This is going to be a big one, and he one of the comments that he made about this was that there's so many federal funding dollars have to go to interstate and to state highways. And the state has been falling behind on that. And he says it's time to push that card and tell them to start evening the playing field. So, it was a good discussion. There was quite a few participants actually from Carroll, and we'll see what happens. I know the 3 projects that they're actually pushing right now would be the Missouri Valley, not so much Denison. Missouri Valley, Jefferson to Ogden.
Dill and Elizabeth Park?
Yeah, yep, and Lisbon to DeWitt. Yeah.
Was it Meskwaki to Cedar Rapids in that thought too? Did you do anything?
I don't think so. I think those 3 are the ones they're pushing right now.
I know
Yeah.
they've got some flood issues that they
Yeah.
desperately need to get.
Yeah, and they're working with the Corps of Engineers on Missouri Valley's project, because they would basically want to bring Highway 30 up on a levee
Mhm.
and control the flooding at the same time. So yeah, I guess the next meeting, well, I think they're going to have another conference call prior to August 8th to make sure they got everything in place before they go down there. And if it works out with me, I'd like to go down there for that and help them support that. This week, I've got Board of Health tomorrow night, and then Nishnabana, and I do plan on going to that on Wednesday. WMA. I think after that, I think these WMAs, because once they get it kind of get down to selection of the executive committees, and then it's going to basically take it out. Should slow that down, so. I think that's it.
Yep.
Okay, last Monday, the first thing I did was reviewed the leases with the Fricky building, the old and the new, and we've had that discussion already and approved that. And then also last week, we had some discussion that Carl had brought in about some retrofitting of new generators and blades on the wind turbines, and I was gonna check to see if that got relayed to the assessor's office. So I visited with Cindy Hooton, and Carl had relayed the information. They're very well aware of it. The turbine company is very cooperative, and it is going to be added to their tax assessment. I guess it'll be FY19 before we realize that income, because of when it's done and how the taxes are always in the rears. Tuesday, I sent you all pictures. I was just very happy with what was going on in the county with the house getting moved to Swan Lake. At that point, showed how the Arcadia shed was progressing. Murphy's crushing was going on, and at that point, finished the Halber Roselle blacktop, and we're moving on to the mahogany, which has been done. Thursday, I had policy council with Rich and Marty, who's on the executive board there. Just touch on a few things. We looked at the driver's operator's manual and had some discussion on that. Talked about the vehicle maintenance program that they have, and that's kind of a touch and go, where you can have get too well defined. For example, you may want to put in there that the oil should be changed every 5,000 miles. Well, that's too soon for some vehicles and not soon enough for some other vehicles. So if you change it too often, you're spending too much money. If you don't change it often enough, you're not doing proper maintenance. So we hashed out some of those issues. 6:30, we had a public hearing of the Regional Transportation Improvement Program. Some projects involved with that involve Carroll County, or resurfacing of Highway 30, blacktop between Highway 30 and Letterdale, the blacktop between Highway 71 and Breda. In fiscal year 19, they're looking at the Hanlos Bridge, and on the DOT side, they're looking at resurfacing in 19 Highway 71, where it first connects to 141. From that point on north to the Roselle Blacktop. Okay, Chris Whitaker gave a report on his assistance and housing report and the activities that he's involved with, including the county roundtable. Tom Feldman gave the transit report. There had been a reduction in rides due to they don't have the contract in the Oak Village anymore. However, the revenue is up due to the increase in Medicaid trips. Workforce report was given. One thing that impacted our area on the workforce was the Kmart closing up here, and they met with, well, there were 24 people that came to the meeting. Everybody was invited. Some are just going to retire, but they gave them their different options as what they can do to find new jobs or collect unemployment and that type of thing. And there's a lot of other business that went on that meeting that maybe Marty will want to include. Okay, also this week, we got our reserve balance, which Courtney provides, and we actually got for 2 months. And I was curious to go back and see how things were hashing out, specifically with case management and local option. And the sum of those two is about $151,000 better than projected. Remember when we did the management of the Carroll County reserves, and did that. Actually, the case management is less than predicted, and the conservative estimates on the local option sales were actually higher than what we had anticipated. So I was very happy with that. Also looked at the general basic balance, and it's a little lower than it was last year or the previous year, but higher than 2015, but in great shape. And finally, the county employee insurance account is at $1.1 million, which is a good amount. So things look good there on the accounts that I looked at. This week, I have the radio and newspaper today. Tuesday evening, I'll be attending the Farm Bureau annual meeting, which we've all been invited to. A little bit dependent on some other things, but I may be going to Des Moines on Wednesday. ICAP is having a free meeting of various things that affect our insurance, and some things coming up in the future: autonomous vehicles, air drones, cyber attack, and physical damage. They're having a free thing there in Des Moines, which I may attend. So that's my plans for this week as well.
Marty?
Okay, last Wednesday, had Region 12, as you could sign checks there. And then on Thursday, we had the Region 12 board meeting. First meeting we had was the revolving loan fund. We had one loan application come from Nutriem. It's a new business that's going to be starting up in Kenora. And basically what they're doing is working with the poultry industry and doing the powdered eggs. And this company, they're originally out of Renwick, which is up by Spencer. And they're going to expand to Kenora because they do a lot of work with Rose Acres down there. They work with the poultry area up by Rembrandt. There's a entity up there in Kenora, so they're going to have processing plants in 2 areas. But basically, it's doing the powdered eggs, or crystallized egg is what they call it. And that loan they're going through Region 12 for a $300,000 loan through the revolving loan plan. And then we had to consider the language access plan. And this has to do with the limited English proficiency in Crawford County with some of the stuff that we do with workforce over there. And some of the entities over there, there's about 1,800 clients that they deal with over there that are limited on their English proficiency, so they're working with that. Rick is also working together, or putting together the RBEG revolving loan fund plan and scope of work. And basically what this has to deal with is some of the small businesses that come in that want to apply for a smaller loan of less than $100,000. The interest rate will be 75% of prime, which is currently at about 4%, so he's putting the scope of work together for that. And then after that meeting, we had a short CEO meeting, chief elected officials with all the supervisors from the counties. Basically, Rick is also working on putting together a new 2080 agreement because of redefining of workforce. And so he's working with the state to put that together. Then we had the policy council meeting. Neil pretty well covered that. One thing that on the executive director's report, Rick kind of talked about the workforce housing tax credit. They're working in Jefferson and Wall Lake to get some projects going there. The one in Wall Lake, there's 2 lots in Wall Lake. They're gonna put a triplex and a duplex there. And the city is donating the land, and then the city of Jefferson is also working with the property. And that was pretty much it on that. Neil pretty much covered everything else on the workforce and the transit. So that's all I've got there. Then on Saturday, went down for the parade for county fair and had a fair turnout there. Also went out to Swan Lake and looked at the house. I was impressed how that sat in there, and then we're working on that. And the mahogany paving, that project's done. This week, I'm gonna meet with Clay Haley from the city. He called me last week. He wanted to talk to me about some things that are going on with the city and county, and we're gonna kind of just have a kind of little get together and talk about what's going on. And then on Wednesday evening, I got the Raccoon Valley Electric Cooperative meeting up in Odebo. So that's it for this week.
2 things. How many employees is this eggplant going to employ down there today?
I think it's like 20 employees, what they're looking at.
So is this going to be a new facility, or are they
Yeah.
going into an existing?
It's a new facility
Okay.
in Panora. I'm not sure exactly where it's at, but it's in Panora.
Roundtable, have they,
I haven't heard any college after ask Chris on that, what they got going,
they got anybody
lined up for
doing
the next
anything?
one. I'll talk to Chris or Rick on that this week. Okay, that's it.
This last week, on Tuesday at CADC, basically the topic was REG was there presenting their business plan, where they're all located at, and what they're all involved in. That thing has grown from, it's just unreal how many plants they got and all that, so. But they gave a presentation there, of what they're doing in Carroll over Des Moines, or Ralston, and they plan on having, I think, an operational the new part, I think this fall later on, I think. So. Thursday night I met with Chad, we signed some documents, went over a few other things, that's going on, new opportunities. And then on Friday, I did, and actually this has kind of been an ongoing thing this last week, having discussions regarding some property. That's where it's at. This week, I have the Farm Bureau meeting on Tuesday night, and I think that's about it for right now. And I'm like, that's what's going on there Wednesday. That actually has got some good.
That's some interesting topics.
It seems like it's been hot and gold for me. So-
Yeah, the Farm Bureau meeting always comes up the same day as our Board of Health meeting. There was one year I was able to make it after the Board of Health meeting, but.
And that's the same problem we have with these DOT meetings that we're supposed to go to, they're at the same time as CAC. I just,
Mm.
but
Oh, yeah.
try to make what we can.
Where's that at?
This,
Johnson,
it's at,
yeah.
in Des Moines at the Garden Hilton. Hilton Garden Inn, Johnson, actually.
Yeah, I was thinking Johnson.
Johnson, I-
That's the one right next to Texas Roadhouse.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I already think it takes road
It's right on
service.
the north side of the 3580.
Mhm.
Texas Roadhouse service.
I doubt it. They do have good food there. I've had meetings there before.
Yeah. Bart, do you have anything?
Nope, just absentee votings for the city election for Carroll is up and going.
And that
Started already?
Yeah, last week. Very busy.
Okay. Any comments from those in attendance?
This Raccoon Valley group, what is the effects on the average farmer? Will that be
The effects on that?
The Raccoon River
That
watershed?
watershed,
It may be
Oh.
some programs that they can use for
Funding
conservation.
for flood control.
Yeah,
is
we're not,
that gonna eliminate the districts that we have now?
no. Has nothing, it's mostly gonna be for, I mean, it's, the money that's available right now is leftover FEMA money that wasn't used up in the last flood cycle.
Partnership with federal money.
Yeah, and we don't see anything for Carroll County, really. But I think we want to be involved in case any funding becomes available. So it's really not going to, as far as what it's going to do for the farmer, it's going to make funding available for them to do projects.
Terracing, flood control.
Yeah, flood control, holding water back
Reserve
primarily.
water.
Yeah, you know.
Slowing water down.
It'll be interesting to see what's gonna happen up in Buena Vista County and Pocahontas
They
County.
have a
as far as-
project that they're working on right away, and I think that'll kind of be the telltale of how this is gonna function.
Yeah. And they also have some in the Nishnabotna. There's some money going there. And that's primarily going, I believe, down in Mills County and Fremont County. And so, I mean, the only, that's actually probably more pertinent to what we would probably get money for out of between the two watersheds, simply because of the flooding, past flooding in Manning. So,
Does that pay for the new employee
yes. Mhm. That's coming out of that funding.
for all the next 5 years?
Yep.
Is that state money or federal money?
It's federal money,
Federal.
FEMA money.
These last two watersheds that we're just getting involved with, the Nishnabotna and the Raccoon River, is the 6th and 7th watersheds in the state of Iowa. The other 5 are mostly on the eastern side of the state, and they've been established for at least 3 years, and some of them maybe 4. So, yeah, that funding is just, it's FEMA money been thrown out there, and they're trying to use it to stop from flooding problems.
96.6 million, I think is what it is.
Yeah. Just short of 100.
And I did talk to Mark Hansen after the meeting about the South and Middle Raccoon. And I said I would talk to Neil about that. He was involved in that the last time when it was, and they're interested in getting that started back up again. So sometime I can give, if Neil wants to go along, we can go down to Dallas County.
I visited with County Supervisor Everett Grasty, and he's working also with that.
With that,
And he's
too.
keeping me up to date on what's
Okay.
happening from his perspective, and see how that goes.
You know, I mentioned to the fact that Rick Hunziker had made the comment that they would like to be involved in it.
Yeah, facilitating it.
It was kind of surprising that the city of Adel, right? Adel,
Yeah.
they didn't, right where the Raccoon River hits them the worst.
They
ones-
they have probably some of the biggest flooding issues.
problems, and they didn't even sign on for this at all. So I don't know whether they've been misinformed or not informed, or, but
Well, and
they're
that's
gonna visit
what,
with them.
yeah, that's what that
the committee
outreach, that outreach committee is gonna do, is try to get some of those people
And
involved.
say, what's your concern, why you're not involved with this?
There was actually, I mean, there was good representation from down, there was a councilman from Clive. She's the head of this committee, the outreach committee, and the city of
Yeah, there was a city, first city of Grimes.
Grimes, yeah.
Yeah.
So there was good involvement.
And there's a lot of soil and water districts are involved in that.
Yes.
There was only 5 there. It kind of surprised me. I thought there'd be a few more. I think 5 or maybe 6, but
Yeah. Steve Reinhardt from Carroll County Soil and Water District was there.
All right. I think that covers everything, so is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Moving second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.